to the 80/20 Baseball Podcast. Strike! The 80/20 Coaching Masterclass, our weekly get-together where coaches go from new to good and good to great. Mastering the fundamentals and the art of coaching.
Welcome, everyone. Pumped up to be here this week, our weekly get-together, where we are trying to level up so we can make the most out of this window, this opportunity that we know as youth sports for our kids and our players and our teams. I got a couple emails this past week from coaches that are using all the stuff we talk about here on the podcast and having a ton of success with it. That's always great to hear that feedback. This stuff works. None of it's theory, speculation, a hypothesis. It works in the trenches, or I should say out there on the field. Today, we are going to talk about two things. First one, communication mistakes that I know I made early on in my coaching career, and I see often with coaches and even parents, heck, even teachers. I'll give you some specific examples of what I'm talking about and why it's important to avoid these. And the good news is this is going to help you on and off the field when you go from coaching mode to parenting mode. In fact, using it as a parent is like a training ground, so then you're even better at it when you go out to coach your team, your players. Topic number 2, I'm going to share some actionable tips to help our hitters be on time more often for the pitch. I have 4 tips to share to help us coach up our hitters so they're on time more consistently. Real quick, before we dive into topic number 1, happy belated Mother's Day to all you great moms. I know this podcast is listened to mostly by dads, guys, but we do have, and I've received emails over the years from moms who listen, who are very appreciative of the podcast. So a happy belated Mother's Day, which of course was 2 days ago. So happy belated Mother's Day to all you great moms that do so much to support behind the scenes. Those moms of you that are listening, you're probably a lot like my mom, who didn't technically ever coach my team, but was just as big a part of my youth baseball journey as my pops was. My mom was the ideal athlete's mom, very supportive, but laid low, never missed a game, but never made a scene, never made it about her, never critiqued my swing or my pitching delivery, but always did a great job of making sure that I was to practice into my games on time and that my jersey was clean and that I was supported. So big shout out to my mom and all of you great moms for your support, especially all that support behind the scenes. Now, while my mom didn't technically coach my team, she did stand in when I would do my bullpen and training sessions, my pitching training sessions. Well, at least until I threw a pitch high and tight on accident. And my mom, rather than getting out of the way, tried to catch it barehanded, only to break her finger. I felt really bad about that, but I'm actually shocked it didn't scar me from pitching inside for the rest of my career. I guess being able to compartmentalize the opponent versus my mom was helpful. Nevertheless, spent Mother's Day over at my parents' house. They live a block away. And when I got over there, my dad was a little giddy. And I know most all of you, if not all of you, don't know my dad, but if you did, giddy would be the last adjective you would think to use to describe my dad. But he was giddy when we arrived, and I quickly found out why. He was excited to tell me that he had just purchased the MLB package for half price. He can now watch all the games. And then he asked me to go home and grab an HDMI cable because I guess 75-year-olds still use cords. Now, all jokes aside, my dad's actually pretty tech savvy for a guy that was born really close to World War II. Speaking of tech savvy, the Dodgers, they use a lot of stats and tech. And of course, we had the Dodger game on in the background, even while we were eating. Not sure that's appropriate etiquette, but hey, I guess in our family, it's all good. And the Dodgers won big, so all the better. Celebrating big events and baseball games, always kind of a big thing. In fact, used to take my dad for his birthday to the Dodgers games. And in 1990, we went to a game on his birthday, only to get the worst present ever. We thought we had a Dodgers win locked up. Ninth inning, the Dodgers were winning 11-3. 11-3 to start the top of the ninth inning. They needed to get 3 outs before they gave up 8 runs. And, as I'm sure you can guess, the Phillies rallied and won the game 12-11. It is the largest ninth inning comeback in Phillies history and happened to be there. All right, topic 1. Most of us, I know I did this early on in my career for quite a while. We use too big of words. And I hit on this a few weeks ago, but I have some specific examples today that I want to share. We're using too big of words and we're wasting a lot of time. In other words, we're not efficiently communicating. And part of efficiently communicating is 1, getting to the point, but 2, making sure that what we're saying hits home and doesn't go over our players' heads. Recently, I've talked about how we can use synonyms that are more at their level to explain or to follow up after using a larger word or a more advanced word. So here are 15 common words, phrases that are used in baseball that will likely require a follow-up explanation, a quick definition, an example that's at the player's level. All right, here we go. Number 1, gapper, hit it in the gap. Probably should follow up that with a explanation. Number 2, chopper. Number 3, climb the ladder. Number 4, eat it. 5, crow hop. Frozen rope. Two-way lead. Stay square. PFPs. Topping it. Rolling over. Pick it. Paint the corner. 5-6 hole. Rundown. Now, those are just 15 examples that when you're coaching 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, we're going to have to follow up. Now, some might be thinking, Coach Bo, could I just replace those with something simpler terminology? You could, but I like using advanced terminology and then quickly and efficiently using a synonym, sharing an example, an illustration, a video, explaining what that meant. That helps bridge the gap so we can get them ready for more advanced terminology, more advanced coaching, while also hitting home with everything rather than it flying over their head. And if it goes over their head, I consider that just 100% waste of time. There's no value in communication if the receiver doesn't catch it. It's like a quarterback in the NFL throwing a perfect spiral, 52 yards, right to the receiver who's got nothing but grass in front of them, and then they drop it. It's an incompletion on the stat sheet. So my tip here, this is a follow-up from a topic we've talked about recently. As you're speaking, think about what you're saying, have the awareness that what you're saying might not resonate or hit home, and that you might need to follow it up with a simplified definition, a simplified synonym. Another way to do this is have the assistant coaches monitor the other coaches when they're speaking, and then slide in, interject when they think the coach might have used a word that was a little too advanced. They could come in and say, hey, now when Coach Joe was saying we're rolling over the ball too much, we're doing this. And he could even have a bat, he could roll his wrist, twist his wrist, and even hit a ground ball that shows the ball rolling over and not squaring it up, not hitting a line drive. So the other coaches could monitor it, and then they could add in the simplified follow-up. I like using advanced stuff, but then blending it and tying it together with things that are more at the player's level. I think that's the ideal way to do this. All right, topic number 2. You have hitters that aren't on time for the pitch. They're often late and behind the pitch. Here are 4 tips. That work, it just depends on your hitter, what they need, but I'll share 4 and you use them as you see fit with your players or your player. A smaller load. A load is the movement before they start their swing. They kind of move into that ready to swing position. A smaller load. Get them preset as close to where they're going to start their swing from as possible. That's my take. The smaller the load, the better. Now, I'll define their swing starting at the point where it starts to go forward, where their hands and bat body starts going forward. Everything that comes before that direct path to the ball, I would consider part of the load. So if we have players that are often late and behind the pitch, let's try to preset them so they're as close to where their swing can go forward as possible. Number 2, in batting practice, randomly quick pitch them. Randomly quick pitch. That doesn't necessarily mean throw harder, although that's not a bad idea, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But when you're throwing batting practice or when a coach is pitching, randomly do a quick delivery. Of course, you're not throwing the pitch when they're not looking or when they're not in the box, but once they're in the box and they're looking at you, just do a quick move, maybe just a slide step quick pitch. And maybe you do throw it a little bit harder, a little firmer. So randomly quick pitch hitters. Another thing that we could be doing, and this goes along with increasing the velocity, our hitters should be seeing faster pitches from time to time. At a minimum, 20% of the reps should be at a faster speed, a faster velocity than they're going to see in the game. Now, you don't need to do this at every practice, and it's much easier to do with a pitching machine typically than with the coach's throwing arm, but it can definitely be done both ways. You don't need to do this at every practice, but I think at a minimum, 20% of the hitting reps our kids see should be slightly faster than what they're going to see in the current games. Essentially, they should be at the speed of the next level. Of course, this prepares them for the next level, which is a really good idea. It also speeds up their internal clock, their internal swing clock. It'll slow down the upcoming game when they're facing that upcoming pitchers. Now, be careful overdoing this. You don't want to throw off their timing too much. And you definitely want them to have some confidence during batting practice. That's why I like that minimum 20%, maximum 40% of the reps should be at a faster speed. And I wouldn't get to the 40% until later in the year, maybe the back third of the year, the last quarter of the year. Don't overprescribe this, but definitely this is something that can speed up that internal clock and help our hitters be on time more often. And tip number 4, read the article at 8020baseball.com titled More Time, Better Hitters. If your hitters are struggling consistently being behind the pitch, the quickest fix is to move them to the back of the batter's box. And their back foot is on that back chalk line, back paint line. Move them to the back of the box. All right, that's going to wrap that up. We got the top 5 coaching posts of the month next week, plus 5 things we need to eliminate before adding more to our coaching toolbox. Lastly, super pumped up to see all you coaches that have gone over and got the 80-20 baseball coaching plan right there at the top of the website, 8020baseball.com. It's at the best price it's ever going to be at. So go over there. Whether you just started coaching or whether you've been coaching for years, you're going to get a ton of value out of this. And even if you just use parts of it, you're still going to get your money's worth. I built it so that if you only used, say, half of it, you're going to get twice your money's worth. So that's ready to rock over there. The promo code GreatCoach25. Use GreatCoach25 at checkout, 25% off what I think is already an unbeatable price compared to everything else that's out there. And it's unique in and of itself. So it's a coaching plan that's one of a kind. You can't find it anywhere else. Everything in there is built the 80-20 way. There's nothing in there that was copied from somewhere else. All right. Always great being here with all of you. I'll see you next week. Until then, let's take care of our health. Let's do that so we can be at our best for our family, those close friends. And let's take this information out to the field. Let's put it into play. All right, y'all take care. Until next week, adios.
This has been the 80-20 Baseball Podcast, the 80-20 Baseball Masterclass. We got this. Now, let's take the field.